Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I have another Gills Stuff video for you today. It's going to be another bagging and boarding comic stream, and it's going to be based upon Superman. Yes, I am kind of excited for the new Superman film, and it reminded me that I have quite a bit of my Superman comic book collection that I have not quite bagged and boarded yet. So let's kind of hang out and nerd out and look at some comic books and discuss Superman. He is one of the most iconic superheroes of all time. I know he is many people's favorite or unfavorite character. I, however, really do like Superman. I like what he stands for, truth, justice, and the American way. And I'm hoping that that'll come across in the new film by James Gunn, which it looks like it will. It kind of, seeing the trailer for that reminds me of the animated series that I used to watch as a kid, and I'm really excited for it, especially seeing Guy Gardner as Green Lantern, which is absolutely one of my favorite superheroes of all time. However, let us focus on Kal-El, otherwise known as Superman. Now, the first comic we're going to bag and board today is a very cool comic series that DC did back in the day, and it is basically their Monster of the Month variant cover. And now this one is Action Comics, and it is issue number 45, and it features Superman, and it's based off of It Came from Outer Space poster, which is a great science fiction film that I'm sure we will show on the panel, hopefully sometime next year in July. It's really cool. I just had to get it for my collection. Now they have various other awesome variant covers based off of all the iconic, movie monsters like Dracula, stuff like that. And unfortunately, I think they have one of Creature from the Black Lagoon with Aquaman, but I couldn't find that one, so I'll probably have to get it online. So there goes that one. Now, of course, we have, the most famous Superman arc of all time, and everybody loves Batman versus Superman, right? Especially the 3-hour version that's based off of the death of Superman. Now, what's so interesting about this comic book is that it was marketed and basically shown to be like, oh, it's going to be a collector's item, it's going to be worth something, it's going to be rare to have back in the day, because, Superman's dead, he gets killed by one of his strongest villains, Doomsday. Now, the funny little secret about this is that this comic book isn't really worth anything because DC mass produced these. So you don't have a hard time getting this. Now, the issues before and after, maybe a little bit, but you're not looking to break the bank on buying this this issue. But it's still cool, and it's fun to have as a comic book collector. And if you're looking to get into Superman, I would recommend picking it up. Now, this next issue is a pride and joy of mine. Now, I went to a Comic-Con or Fan Days. I'm pretty sure it was one of those. It's basically kind of the same thing, but the Texas equivalent. And Jim Lee was there. He's a famous comic book artist, did amazing Batman runs, did awesome, Superman runs, and of course created his own stuff. I think when they were at Image Comics or something like that, when he's a great artist and everything like that. Well, they line capped him before I could meet him, and he was pretty mad about it because you could tell he was really passionate about being with us fans and wanted to sign all of stuff. However, he came back and was like, I will sign stuff, and they were like, well, you can only limit one per comic. Well, I was with the wife, and she was with me, and she helped me get my Jim Lee stuff signed, and I've got one of the most iconic Superman covers signed by Jim Lee. This is a great comic book run too. Some people, I remember back when this whole run came out with Jim Lee, they were a little disappointed in it, and that's primarily because the Hush run that happened at the same time was so good. You know, with the Batman Hush run, it was so iconic and so great, and you know, it like blew people's minds because it is one of the best Batman graphic novels ever written. That I think they compared it too much to that, and so I feel like that's unfair because this is also a really great Superman run. But yeah, it's a beautiful cover, and of course, you know, there's a Batman alternative of this. You get both sides, but the Batman one's really hard to find. But I was lucky to find this, I think, at a half-price bookstore, and they didn't know what they had, so I snagged this, and I got it for half the price of the cover price, which is not how much that comic is worth. So that's kind of cool, especially if you, you know, get stuff that, you know, they don't know what they have. It's really fun. But as far as like that goes, I could not find. I went through all those boxes that you see back there, and I could not, for the life of me, find my more 90s Superman comics. But I did find my, there we go, my more kind of New 52 stuff. Everybody's favorite, right? I really like it. I know some people dislike it, but I think New 52 run was really great. It was a lot of fun. This is Grant Morrison run, and it's kind of like when the multiverse got rebooted. I know Marvel's doing all the multiverse stuff in their movies, but really they kind of stole that from DC, because DC was really first in the comics, and ironically Marvel is first in all the movies. So if DC ever does try to authentically adapt their comic runs, they're going to get accused of copying Marvel. Well, let's be fair, Marvel and DC, all they do is copy and steal from each other. You know, Deathstroke, or Deadpool's basically Deathstroke, and vice versa. You know, Namor's basically Aquaman, or Aquaman's Namor. You know, there's all these fights and debates. I choose to like them both. I think they're all fun characters. But this is like a really fun Grant Morrison run with Action Comics that he did. And I remember going in when they rebooted all that, I was like, I'm going to get it all. And some of it was kind of underwhelming. Some of it was pretty bad. So, but for the most part, my pull list for that was all the Batman books and all the Superman books. And Grant Morrison did a really awesome run with Action Comics. It's kind of like Superman is just like starting out kind of thing. So he doesn't really have a suit, but he has a shirt that he's designed himself, and he goes out, and it's really great. And I really like the art in this. It's really beautiful. It's really fun. It's a great time, and it's just got a really riveting storyline. And then, you know, you get to see how powerful Superman is in this. It's just so cool. It's a great time. Now, one thing that I really liked, I don't think it's in this issue. No, I think it's in the next one. Oh no, here it is. You can see Lex Luthor. Now, one thing that I like Grant Morrison added about Lex Luthor's character in this is that he really loved energy drinks. He liked to drink them a lot, and I just think that that's like a little cool little thing that he added to the character, and it's just a really fun time, because I would always, you know, go to the comic book store, pick these up, go to work. I had a little desk job at the time, and on my breaks or when it was just a dead day and you got everything done, you know, they didn't really care what you did as long as you made yourself look busy. So I would drink an energy drink so I could stay awake, and I'd read Superman comics and Batman comics and Green Lantern comics. I just read all the New 52 stuff, the comics I got. It's pretty nice. Look at that cover, and that's sick. That is so awesome. I just this it reminds me of Bride of Frankenstein when they capture Frankenstein's monster and they put him up against the electric chair and all this stuff, and then you get to see Lex Luthor be a total asshole right there, and all that. Also, it's very reminiscent of an iconic Captain Marvel cover where they're also doing the same, electrocuting Captain Marvel. So like I said, you could just accuse of them of paying homage to that or just downright stealing it. But it's one of my favorite covers of the Superman Action Comics. So issue 3 here. It's pretty cool. We kind of see reminiscence of that in the new James Gunn trailer. So it'll be interesting to see, if how that all plays out. But I guess what my initial thought there is, Superman for the last couple of film incarnations, it's been kind of dark and depressing, and he's been kind of like emo or goth or whatever, which is fine because I'm rocking the black Superman shirt, and that was the thing that happened I think in the late 90s, where after he died there, he came back and he had the black suit, and I really like that Superman. That's actually one of my favorite Supermans because I'm like, oh, he looks goth and he's got long hair now. He's super cool. He's a little more aggressive, but it's just a cool looking suit, right? But I guess really starting with the Superman Returns film. After that, you got Man of Steel, and then of course Batman vs Superman, and then that horrific Joss Whedon version of Justice League. Although the Zack Snyder version of Justice League is far superior and better, although it is like 4 or 5 hours long, so I understand people maybe a little hesitant to watch it, but it is far superior version, and I would highly recommend it if you want to see Superman kick ass, and also, spoiler if you don't know, Darkseid's in it. But yeah, I collected Action Comics and Superman for quite a while, especially with the new 52 run, because it was, Superman's been around so long that it can be a little intimidating to get into if you don't really know where to start. So I think it was smart for DC to kind of reboot per se, and kind of give us nerds and newer generation time to kind of like, hey, maybe we can start here and stuff like that. But yeah, so I got really excited and into it. And then of course, like I mentioned before, as a kid I grew up with the animated series, and then there is the most, obviously the iconic Christopher Reeve films. And I think those films have still aged phenomenal, and they're really good fun. And I always, in the month of July, I always put on Superman films at the Lagoon and just kind of binge watch them all. It's a really cool cover. I like, it begins again. Baby Kal-El coming at you. And Lex Luthor is kind of ingrained in everybody's mind as being bald. But if you actually read the comics and his first appearance and stuff, he actually does have kind of curly hair. So it's kind of cool to see that, being accurately portrayed in the Christopher Reeve versions of the film. And then, of course, everybody's favorite Jesse was Eisenberg version. He had that as well. But yeah, I saw a thing on the internet with him not too long ago, talking about how that, or he basically insinuated that him doing that character kind of killed his career. Now, I know that his performance in that was more or less like super despised when it came out, but I didn't think he did so bad, and I actually kind of, being all into the multiverse nerdiness of that, I actually thought he was Lex Luthor's son. I thought there was like kind of Easter eggs hinting that that's who he really was. He wasn't the actual Lex Luthor, but I'm probably wrong on that. It's probably just me trying to cope at how kind of mid those films were. But I still liked it. Now, as far as like the whole like multiverse thing goes, you know, I feel like it's kind of getting, you know, you're kind of beating a dead horse, right? But I always thought that DC Comics did it far better than Marvel. Now, that's not saying that Marvel doesn't have cool multiverse stuff, because, you know, they got the Secret Wars and stuff like that, but, like, really, DC, you know, has, you know, Infinite Crisis, and it's far better. You know, Supergirl dies, shocking. Yeah, it's cool to see Spider-Man get the symbiote suit, and then without that, you know, we wouldn't have Venom and all of that. But anyways, this is a really cool issue of Action Comics. I remember, like, really being blown away by this one, because I just, like, this time, you know, you get Superman's got the white shirt on now, and kind of got this, like, little makeshift mask floating around. And yeah, as being a hardcore Superman nerd, I was kind of like, you know, you've got all these, like, little parasites with, like, little green stuff. I don't know if you can see them. Hang on, let me see if I can find one. Well, not really. But I was like, man, this is kind of like reminiscent of like Brainiac, you know. And I was like, is that what they're gonna do? Are they finally gonna do Brainiac, which is like one of my favorite Superman villains? And I am just shocked and amazed that we still do not have a live-action film with Brainiac. Now, I know Tim Burton was going to give us that with the illustrious Nicolas Cage as Superman. And man, I hope the multiverse is a real thing, and there is some kind of dimension where that film exists. I would love to be able to, like, see it. There is an awesome documentary about that film. And if you are into Superman or not into Superman, but you like how films are made and stuff, I would highly recommend you check that out. You will not be disappointed. You get to see kind of like what goes on behind the scenes when you make a film, and what happens when you get like producers that think that they know more than they do, and think that they're actually creative and they're not. I know Kevin Smith has a funny thing about that as well, like his like stand-up talking about it. And but we were originally going to get, you know, he wrote that script or whatever. We were originally going to get Brainiac, and it would have been sick. And I think Michael Keaton's Batman was even going to show up. They were even going to have like a little Green Lantern cameo, you know, because Kevin Smith was a nerd and stuff and wanted to put that in. The only other incarnation of Brainiac that we really got that was awesome was in the video game series Injustice. And in Injustice 2, Brainiac's like the main villain, and it was played by Jeffrey Combs, the star of Reanimator and all those H.P. Lovecraft films. And he does a phenomenal portrayal of Brainiac. He does a really nightmare-fueled version of it. And lo and behold, to come full circle, that was Brainiac, yeah. So I was right. I was like, whoa, they really are setting up Brainiac in this, and he's the collector of worlds. So it was really sick. Really cool run. So I'm hoping if this Superman film does well, which I'm hoping it will, although I do kind of have my concerns about it. I won't go too much into that, because you know, I want to wait till I see the film and have my opinions on it. I don't want to base a whole opinion off of a trailer that I've seen. But I'm hoping it is successful, and in the sequel we will get Brainiac, because it's shocking that we don't have that already. It's like, kind of like, whoever does it's going to make a great Superman film. I would have really liked to have seen Henry Cavill's version of Superman fight Brainiac. I thought that's probably what they were going to do in the canceled Superman film. What was it called? The Man of Tomorrow or whatever? And they canceled that, unfortunately. I think Henry Cavill deserved one more. Now this is a really cool issue. I believe this is the annual. Yeah. It's the first annual they did. It's about $4.99. So back then, it's runs you about $6, but it was really good. It was really cool. It's a good read. But yeah, I highly recommend if you're trying to get into Superman or you don't know where to start. You can always find a reprint of that first, his first appearance in Action Comics. Definitely start there. Read that. Start with the Golden Age. I'd also recommend All-Star Superman, which is also written by Grant Morrison, I believe. Or is it Alan Moore? I think it's Grant Morrison. But anyways, I highly recommend that. And then also the New 52 stuff is really fun. And then, you can't go wrong with reading the whole Death of Superman arc stuff. Because that's when you finally get, outside of Brainiac, my favorite villain is Cyborg Superman. Now, if I ever had the blessed opportunity to make a trilogy of Superman films, I'd probably start the film. My first film would, set up Lex Luthor, but I'd also do Parasite. But I do Parasite like how he's done in the New 52, where he's kind of like this blob from outer space. He's kind of Lovecraftian, shape-shifting monster. I don't think that's going to fit. I think that's the wrong size. But anyways, we'll have to board that later. But now we're getting into just Superman issue 0. And I think this is that's how it begins with Jor-El, Superman's father. And it's really cool art. I really like this artist. I thought his style was really unique at the time. It just felt kind of like otherworldly and, super duper, sci-fi. Like, it's really cool. I really, it's, Superman's alien, so it's like really cool when they delve into the more sci-fi aspects of it, and it's cool because, it's like, well, he's an alien, but he looks like us. It's like, well, yeah, but it's cool, man. He's got, like, superpowers and punch stuff and all that awesomeness. But, yeah, I thought I had this. I went to a Comic-Con where the artist that did the cover of this next one that I'm about to show you, and ironically enough, I don't think I had time to meet him, or like when I went to go meet him, he was like on lunch break or something, so that kind of sucked. Golly, gotta get this guy in here. So yeah, that really sucked because I was looking forward to meeting him and getting this issue signed, which is the first issue of Superman, the New 52 run, of course. I mean, look at it, it's pretty sick, right? And I know that, in this run, I'm not going to lie, it's good. It pays off more because it's doing a lot of, like, setup for, like, a later run. But it is definitely, like, I was kind of like, man, if this doesn't pick up soon, I'm going to, I don't know, like, you're going to have to move on, and, but I was like, no, it'll be good, But yeah, this run, like, I think for the first, 6 issues or whatever, it's a little rough at first, but if you stick with it, I promise you the next art is better, and then it will bring in, by the third arc, the stuff that this set up, and it'll tie it in together, and it's, like, really epic. So, give it a shot. I would still recommend that, but I definitely would start with more Action Comics first, the ones that we just boarded, because they're a lot better. But it is what it is, and I'm thinking that this might not fit. Hang on, I think these are the wrong size. No, it is. I just cheated a little bit and put tape on it already because it's hard to see in the mask. No one cares who I was till I put on the mask. Yeah, I'm not vain, but looking at all this DC stuff, it reminds me of it. But what is cool about this, though, is in this Superman series, they did something cool with, like, the original Superman, he's in tights, right? You know, he's wearing undies over his tights and stuff like that, and doing all that kind of cool, you know, saving the world business. Well, in this, they're kind of like, oh, well, it's nanotech, so you're going to be like, well, that's Iron Man. Well, yeah, so it's still fucking awesome, right? Quit being a hater, you know, but it works. So it's like the logo, he like puts it on, and it's like nanotech, and it makes it, has like the cape. I thought it was really cool. And it's like, you know, alien technology, right? So, anyways, going back to like the awesome Christopher Reeve films, the Superman 2 with Zod. Man, you talk about a character that is so badass and cool that they had to put him in the comic books, because he was a villain that was not in the comics, that became so popular from that film and was so well written and regarded that they actually put him into the comics as canon. And you know, how awesome is that, right? Because how many like, what is it in Superman, what is it, yeah, 4, with the alien or whatever, where they get rid of all the nukes or whatever, the quest for peace. It's like, we got to get rid of all the nuclear warheads, and then when they do, Lex Luthor's like, well, we're gonna get this irradiated dude over here now, and he's gonna destroy the world, and oh, we don't have the ability to fight him or whatever, you know. And he's like basically some kind of evil Russian Superman. It's pretty awful. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you run a risk when you make your own villain that's not from the comics. You can have a pretty bad film if you're not careful. That's not saying, I'm not calling Superman 4 a bad film. I enjoy it for what it is, but my point is like, look at the difference between Zod and that character. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, ooh. But yeah, so basically, you can kind of see the nanobots or whatever. They got infected by all these different kind of elementals, you know, and kind of attack Superman. So it's like I said, his suit is his first enemy, and it's kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, it's a cool idea, but you know, it gets better in the next couple of issues when they bring in one of my cool. I think he's a new villain. I could be mistaken, but if I'm not mistaken, he is a villain that they brought in with the new 52. But this is pretty much the conclusion of the weird nanobots armor. But I mean, just look at the art though. The art is like super sick. It is badass. So you can get your money's worth at least for the art. And then, like I said, it picks up pretty fast after that. And of course, everybody likes the 80s Supergirl movie, right? Yeah, ironically enough, I'm such a poser, as Melkor would call me on this. I didn't even know that movie existed until a couple weeks ago. I guess I slept on it, which is ironic because I really like Supergirl as well. She's a great character. We don't talk about the Flash Supergirl movie. No, I'm just kidding. Flash movie, oh, yeah, we're just not going to talk about that. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where when you change a character that is so iconic, you know, and you give them dark hair instead of blonde hair, it's just not the same, you know. And I get the argument, well, she's supposed to be Kal-El's sister, so Kal-El's got black hair, and so therefore she's... No, it's fucking stupid. Shut your mouth. She should be blonde and look like how she is in the comic book. Shut up. I'll fight you to death. We'll fight in the comic book store and I'll win because I'm cooler than you because I'm Gill-boy. Yeah, I'll kick your ass like Superman just kicked his own sister's ass in this. But anyways, yeah, the Supergirl comics in the New 52 are really good too. And they're just a beautiful work of art because it's all watercolor. So the dude drew everything out, you know, got it all inked, and then went over with it in watercolor, and it is gorgeous. It is some gorgeous art. You know, they don't make comic books like that nowadays. everything's all AI and shitty and, you know, just horribly rushed to where they, like, panels don't even have anything in the background. You know, everything's just being rushed. It's just garbage. Garbage 9000. So this is the villain I was talking about. So cool. Look at that dude, man. He is so badass looking. Yeah, Hell's Pont Rising or whatever. This is so cool. Let me see if I can find him in here. But yeah, so awesome. I think he's... Hang on, he's out over here somewhere towards the end. Yeah, there he is. He's just cool, man. Yeah. Yeah, I know Ghost Rider called and wants his flame back, but who cares, right? It's badass, dude. Yeah, his move is he picks up Superman and says, "Look into my eyes." No, I'm just kidding. Imagine though. But yeah. So yeah, anyways, going back to my nerd fantasy of making Superman film. Yeah, the first villain be Parasite. He'd be the primary villain. Of course, I'd set up Lex Luthor and all that good stuff. And then I think my second villain would be kind of like Lex Luthor, but it would be primarily maybe a mixture of him kind of doing Bizarro, which I think is what we're hearing might be the case for the James Gunn one. I don't know if that's true or not, or maybe some form of Ultimo or whatever. And then for my third one, it would be Brainiac, of course, and maybe tease the existence of Cyborg Superman. So if I got to do a fourth, I could come and do that, and then have Lex Luthor have his badass armor that he fights Superman in. So yeah, you can see Superman kind of gets his ass kicked in this one, and I love the Cthulhu's, love the Lovecraft element. So badass, so cool. Like I said, cool villain, you know. Might even just do this villain, and then call him Mr. Blaze or something, just to troll the Marvel fans. No, joking aside, man, Superman's a good time. I know some people seem to kind of feel like they've already seen the whole Superman movie. I mean, I have to say they kind of are oversharing too much. Like, they're showing all these different scenes, they're showing all these trailers, and it's just kind of like, hey man, why don't you just like let us go see the movie instead of like, you know, all of us. So I feel like I've already seen half the film. You know what I mean? Like I should be able to go and just enjoy it. You know, you've already sold me on it, man. People who like Superman are gonna go. People who don't like Superman don't care. You know, and you know it's kind of like Superman's one of those characters where he's so old school. Like you either love him or you hate him. So I don't think you're gonna get new audiences in. And you know, superhero movie fatigue is real. You know, the market's kind of oversaturated with it all, and most of the stuff that's coming out now is like unwatchable garbage. So I can't imagine. You know, I know Warner Brothers really needs this movie to succeed, and as a Superman fan and Green Lantern fan, Batman fan, I want it to succeed. You know, I want more of this content, but I want it to be good. And I think James Gunn is the right person for it because, you know, he's a nerd. He's read comics. It seems, you know, like for example, love or hate a Suicide Squad film. At least everybody looks like they do in the comic books. You know, like I'm so tired of like the comic book movies. And don't get me wrong, I do like the 2000s comic book movies and stuff like the X-Men and stuff like that, but it's like, why didn't you just give them their spandex, bro? Like, who cares? You don't have to modernize it and make them look like goth bikers. Like, it's cooler if they look like the comic. What is it, like Deadpool Wolverine was the first time we finally got to see sorry. The board fell. I was like, what did the board do? We finally got to see Wolverine in his iconic outfit. And man, I remember when that happened in the theater, everybody lost it, man. Everybody screaming. You know, it's kind of like, you know, that's what people want to see. We want to see comic book. I know the League Superman review for the new film got leaked, and the dude's like, it's too much like a comic book. It's like, no shit, bro. Imagine a comic book movie being like a comic book. It needs to be a comic book. It needs to be, you know, it needs to be silly. It doesn't need to be like, oh my god, I'm an alien from outer space. I'm an immigrant and nobody loves me. I'm hated and I'm despised because I saved the day and I'm sad. And my parents in Kansas, you know, they're farmers. You know, it's like he's fucking Batman. And, you know, it's like, nah, bro. He needs to be happy. He needs to be fun. He needs to be lighthearted. But also, it needs to have the seriousness of the weight of world-ending stuff with Lex Luthor being an asshole. So, and I think it will. I trust James Gunn. I know he's hopefully going to give us some good stuff. And I'm just excited for Crypto. I mean, come on. Crypto's a fun character. Unless you hate dogs. And then if you hate dogs, then you can go fuck yourself. But anyways, look at that badass cover of Superman basically fighting the Great Cthulhu. Let me see, I think, yeah. Look at it, it's like some badass. Yeah, here it is. Lovecraftian thing. It's a great issue. Great issue. So, there goes that. And I think we're almost about done here. I know this video is going to go kind of on long because I have quite a bit of Superman comics, and this is still more in there. But, you know, you're going to hang out with me for like an hour talking about Superman? I know you would. But, I've got to go, like, you know, clean up some stuff at the Lagoon. But, yeah, I guess we can talk about this series. So this is when kind of like, yeah, I think it's this one, right? Yeah. Yeah, because this one was kind of like the end or like a midway period, kind of like filler comic, if I'm not mistaken, into this new series with the kind of guy I showed you at the beginning part. And he did a kind of new run. And this one was called Hell on Earth or whatever. It's like some other kind of Kryptonian dude. It's kind of like Zod, but he's like more metal, I guess. Or he's like super goth. But yeah, and it's like it was like a huge like end of the world like run where you had to buy like Superboy comics, Supergirl comics, Action comics, Superman comics, and like what was the other one? I think we even went into like, was it Flash? No, maybe I'm wrong on that. But it was basically like the Superman, like I know the comic books were called, you know, you want the Bat list or Bat Family list or the Superman list. It went through all of those books, and there he is. There, so he's kind of like goth or whatever. So he's really cool. He's a cool villain. And again, the art is just kind of beautiful. You know, like this was back when comic books. I know some elitists were like, you know, but those people are never happy. They complain about one thing, and then if you do what they're complaining about, then they complain about how it wasn't like what they were previously not complaining about. But so you know that, but that's just kind of like nerd stuff in general. But this is a great series. I do not have any more of that. I do believe that's the last issue I got of that run, and then I ended up reading them digitally. Because at the time, I was running out of space. I didn't have the awesome boxes and the bags and boards. You know, is pretty expensive then. But yeah, I really enjoy Superman. I'm looking forward to the new film. You know, Superman 3 is one of my favorite Superman films, and that's not just because I also like Office Space. Side note, a great double feature, and hopefully we might do it on the panel, or I might do like a movie stream on my own, where we will watch Superman 3, take a little break, and then watch Office Space. It's a great fun double feature, because it's basically kind of like the same thing that happens in them, and they're both kind of funny, because you get the great Richard Pryor, one of the best comedians of all time, in that film, and it's just a great time, and you get that scene where Superman's at the bar and he's like trying to get drunk, but you know he's Superman, so he can't really get wasted, but he tries. I just think that scene's a lot of fun and brilliant writing. But anyways, yeah, man, just have a good time, you know, go see the Superman movie. If it sucks, wow, I'm going to be pretty upset, and I'm sure you will be too, and you'll be like, dang, Gill-boy, why'd you tell me to go see garbage? And it's like, well, I didn't know it was garbage. But we always have the old school films, and of course, we have the comic books that they can never really take away from us unless they just permanently delete it, but if you own it physically, you can have it forever. So anyways, this video is super long. I appreciate you all for staying and nerding out and talking Superman with me. For this week, I will have some more videos come out. I'm going to try to have a fun, like, more music review stuff for you. I'm still working on the deep dive of Horror of Dracula. I was really busy working on The Haunt for this year, which I'm excited for all of you to see. I hope it freaks you all out and makes you think about things differently. Who knows? And I will definitely do some more Red Dead video game streams. I have another video that I'm doing a kind of collaboration with another YouTuber, Cartoon Critique. So hopefully those videos will all be coming out soon. But in the meantime, you know, just have a good time, enjoy your life, you know, stay salty and stay spooky, and, you know, always keep your eye to the sun. You never know. You might say, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Superman! Yeah!